On deck we have Kodiak, but coming to the stage right now, a true master of narrative. Please welcome Tim Finnegan.
What up, people? How y'all doing tonight? All right, well, that's what I like to hear. Well, my name's Tim Finnegan, but besides being known as Tim Finnegan, I could also be known as Kevin McAllister. And I'd like to tell you guys a fucking story about how I was left home alone by mistake back when I was 8 years old. My family was taking a trip to Paris for Christmas that year. And I was the youngest in my family, and I had older brothers and sisters who were assholes to me back then. And I've been called names like I've been called a disease, I was called a jerk, and other bullshit. I also grew up in a home in a big house on Lincoln Boulevard in Winnetka, Illinois, and I've been called a lot of bad names, like I was called a jerk and other shit. And one thing my older sister Linny called me, she was like, Kevin, you're what the French call les incompetents. And yeah, there was a lot of shit I was going through, and I was fucking pissed off at my family a lot. That I even said to myself when I was 8 years old, you know what, when I get up and getting older, I'm living alone. You hear that? I'm living alone. And now it's true that I live by myself alone in my own apartment, and it's fucking awesome. And so yeah, so when my family went to Paris back when I was 8 years old, we ordered pizza from Little Narrows the night before we left for Paris. And back then I used to only like plain cheese pizzas, and my older brother Buzz bullied me by eating my fucking cheese pizza on purpose. And I was fucking pissed off at him. Buzz didn't even get in trouble for that shit when he should have gotten in trouble. And it just started a fight, and then things got out of hand, and drinks were knocked over, and a lot of other shit was coming on, and my mother Kate was fucking pissed off, and she asked what my problem was, and I tried to tell her that Buzz started it and ate my cheese pizza on purpose, but she didn't believe that shit. And I got in trouble, and even my Uncle Frank was pissed off, said to me, look what you did, you little jerk. And Kate, my mother Kate made me go upstairs for the rest of the night to the attic, and I asked the pizza guy, hey, why didn't you bring more fucking plain cheese pizzas? And Kate even then talked to a police officer, when she said she was leaving for Paris and stuff, but when I saw that police officer's gold tooth, I knew there was something suspicious about him, and I realized later that it was Harry, who was one of the burglars who brought my house. But yeah, by the time I got upstairs, I just was ready. I said, like, you know what? I just don't want any family. I'm living alone or whatever. And he's like, I don't want to see you again for the rest of my life. And my mother Kate said, well, I hope you don't mean that. You'd feel sad if you woke up tomorrow morning and you had no family. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. And she's like, well, why don't you say it again? Maybe it'll happen. I'm like, you know what? I hope you never see any of your jerks again. So I walked upstairs. I was fucking pissed off. And so that night, the power went out. There was lightning, thunder, and everyone's alarm did not go off, and everyone was in a rush to leave for the airport. They left without me, and I slept through all that shit. And when I woke up, I'm like, holy shit, where is everyone? And then I realized it made my family disappear. I was fucking excited. I was screaming, running around the house. I was jumping on the bed. That's what I used to do when I was 8 years old. But then, when my mother Kate was on the flight to Paris, she realized she forgot something. She didn't know what it was at first, but when she realized she forgot me, she yelled my name really loud on the plane and said, Kevin! So yeah, she was freaking out. She called the Winnetka Police Department, and she talked to Family Crisis Intervention. She was afraid someone was going to hang up, and she was like, somebody pick up. Pick up! She was freaking out, and so, but I was having a fucking awesome time when I was home alone. I was, going through my other Buzzer shit, using his BB gun and other shit, and I also watched an old gangster movie called Angels with Filthy Souls, and it was fucking awesome. And yeah, there was a whole lot of shit going on, but yeah, when Kate realized she left me home alone, she just turned right around and stayed up for a few days, and took a flight from Paris to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and then Kate got a ride from some polka band from Pennsylvania back to Chicago when they were on their way to Milwaukee. But yeah, there was a whole lot of shit going on, and meanwhile, while I was home alone, there was some burglars at my house. There was something going on, and I knew there was something suspicious happening, and I tried to trick Harry and Marvin to thinking my family was still home, but it was hard to figure out. And then another cool thing I did that time I was home alone, I ordered pizza from Little Narrows. I ordered myself a plain cheese pizza, and I played that Angels with Filthy Souls video over the TV, and I scared the pizza guy away when he's like, hey, I'm going to give you to the count of 10 to get your your ugly, yellow, no-good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead. 1, 2, 10. And I was fucking excited about a cheese pizza. But yeah. But when my house was planning to be robbed, I overheard Harry and Marv's plan that they were going to rob my house at 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve. So I was smart enough to know how to set booby traps. Some of the booby traps I set were like a blowtorch, a thing where you put your hand on the doorknob and you burn yourself. And I also put an iron where you think you're grabbing a light bulb and other shit. And I also did a nail on the stairs with tar and ornaments. And Harry and Marv tried to chase me down. And first when I got to the house across the street after I called the police, they tried to get their revenge and said they were going to do everything to me that I did to them. But old man Marley saved my ass when he hit them with a shovel, and then Harry and Marv were arrested. And then I was ready to have a great Christmas. And then next morning, I was hoping that my family would be back from Paris on time for Christmas. But when I woke up on Christmas morning, at first there was no one home. But then my mother Kate came home and said Merry Christmas. And then a few minutes later, everyone else in my family got home and was happy to see me. And it was a fucking awesome Christmas, a pretty interesting story. But then my older brother Buzz said, like, Kevin, what did you do to my room? And I'm like, holy shit. But yeah, I lived through an interesting life back then, and I had a fucking awesome Christmas after all. That's my time. Thanks for watching that. Merry fucking Christmas. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Tim Finnegan, everybody! Spoiler alert! My bad, spoiler alert. Did Home Alone really happen in Milwaukee? Is that movie based in Milwaukee?
Chicago. Polka Band was headed to Milwaukee.
Polka Band was headed to Milwaukee. Yeah, okay.